Okay, today I'm going to show you 4 exercises to help relieve lower back pain to give you some pretty immediate relief. The first 2 are going to be some stretches, and the second 2 are going to be strength exercises. The stretches are going to help relieve the pain right away, and the strengthening exercises are going to help strengthen the muscles around your back and your core and your hips to make sure that back pain stays away. All right, so the first one's going to be a Cobra or a Sphinx, depending on what works better for you. So how it works, you're going to start on your tummy. You're going to have your elbows right in front of you with your forearms flat on the ground. And you're going to press away from the mat, look forward, deep breath in, and relax. You want to make sure we're not collapsing in here and we're not looking down. We want to make sure that our shoulders are away from the ears or pushing away from the mat, making sure our eyes are forward. Deep breath in, stretch the abdomen, and deep breath out. You may feel a little tightness in your lower back. That's okay. We're working on expanding those vertebrae, putting some nutrients back into them from being compressed all day and maybe bad positions that we're in. So if you don't feel anything here, or if this really isn't doing much for you, what we can do is then go into the Cobra, also called the upward dog. So we're going to push up here, deep breath in, deep breath out, putting even more space in between those vertebrae. And this is going to cause a lot more hyperextension in the low back. So if this is too much, then what you can do is go right back down to the Sphinx, where it's a little more conservative of a position. So after about 8 deep breaths in either the Sphinx or the Cobra, deep breath in, deep breath out, we're going to come down and do a child's pose. So you can have your knees together or knees wide during this one. I like to have my knees wide, just more comfortable. So I sit back here, deep breath in, and deep breath out. In and out. So what we're doing here is the reverse of what we just did in the Cobra and the Sphinx. So what it does is it really puts the back into flexion, also decompresses those vertebrae, puts some space into them with each deep breath. So the same thing, 8 deep breaths here, deep breath in, and just sink into the mat. Deep breath in, and sink. Okay, now that we have those 2 stretching exercises done, we're going to go into our first strengthening exercise, which is called a glute bridge. So feet right next to the hips, flat on our back here. We're going to make sure we keep our core tight. We do that by touching the bones right at your hip, these hip bones, putting them right above it, and then doing a small cough. Sounds funny, I know, but when you do that, you'll notice that those muscles tighten. So try and keep those muscles tight as you push through your heels, squeeze your glutes, roll your hips up, squeeze those butt muscles together while keeping your core tight, and then roll down. So deep breath in, deep breath out, core tight, roll the hips up, squeeze those glutes, squeeze for 1, 2, and then roll your way back down, okay? You only want to go as high as it takes to squeeze those glutes and roll that pelvis. What we don't want to do is push past that into hyperextension. You really only want to be in that hyperextended position when we're stretching, like in the Sphinx or in the Cobra. So squeeze your core, squeeze your glutes, deep breath out, and really roll them up and squeeze at the top of the range of motion. Okay? Okay, so this is the second exercise for strengthening the muscles around your low back. Again, there are many you can do, but these 4 exercises just make a quick routine you can do to give you some immediate relief. So, in the second exercise for strengthening, a quick test to see if you need it is to put your feet hip width apart, come onto one foot, and then come onto the other foot. And if it's not symmetrical with how much you sway with each foot, then you should probably do this exercise. For me, I still need to do it because when I lift my right foot off the ground, I'm shifting a lot more toward the left Then when I lift my left foot off the ground to my right, I'm only shifting a little bit. See that difference? I lift up here, I shift quite a bit. I lift my left leg up, I'm only shifting a little bit, which means the glute medius, these muscles here, are very, very weak and need to be strengthened. So you're gonna use the wall for balance here. What we're gonna do is just lift up the inside leg here. You're gonna take this hip, let it kind of sink out, and then thrust it in. Let the hip sink out and stand it back up, which means you're really working this muscle, the glute medius. I know it looks kind of silly me doing this movement, but you're gonna let the hips rock out and then rock back in. What that does is strengthen that muscle and makes it a more practical application for walking and balancing. So if I were to do the other side, there'd be a wall here. I'd let the hip rock out and then thrust it back in. Let the hip come out a bit and then push it back in, really exercising that glute med or the gluteus medius, which is a muscle very important for stabilization of the hips when walking. And that's gonna make it very, very important to make sure that our back is safe. So I hope those 4 exercises help. Let me know if you have any questions and have a great rest of your day.